because you're really going to need that when you're unleashing this car. But hey, it is what it is. Welcome to the Giulia Model Year 20 Quadrifoglio. Now, this is a car I've been lusting to drive for a very long time. In terms of what's different is the main question, I think, is what everybody wants to know. In terms of engine, nothing. We still have 510 horsepower from the 2.9 litre V6 bi-turbo engine producing 600 newton meters of torque. And the saying, don't change it if it's not broken, feels very fitting here. Now, one of the things that I've always loved about the Giulia Quadrifoglio is, one, its exterior styling. It's the way it looked. It's a beautiful machine. When Alfa released the Giulia Quadrifoglio, I think many jaws dropped just how stunning it was. It really kind of made M3 owners and C63 owners think twice and think, oh, hang on a minute. The thing that everyone then turned around and said, which was a slight problem, was that as a performance car, it's fantastic, but from an interior perspective, it lacks an element of the premium feel you'd expect for the money you'd pay for one of these. So if we start with the exterior, we're in race mode, of course, because the weather's dry and we've got the Corsas on. I've got some heat into them, so we're definitely going to get some decent grip. But if I start with the exterior, kind of what's changed, what's different, we get new tail lights, we get darker tail lights, which I think look really nice. The rest of the car remains pretty unchanged, and I guess that's okay because this is a facelift, it's not a brand new product, so we've changed the tail lights to try and give it a bit of a different look, if you like. The bulk of the changes come from inside the car, and we'll touch on those in a moment. You get 3 new colours for Model Year 20 for both Giulia and Stelvio. You get this GT Junior Orca Yellow, which I think would be a winning colour for this kind of car. We also get a Montreal green, again stunning, and a d'Este Rosso, which is kind of like a heritage red. All 3 colours, mind you, are heritage colours. I can feel that back trying to let go, but shock, guess what? I'm driving this car in the dry. Normally when I drive a Giulia Quadrifoglio, guys, it's always raining and I always struggle to put the power down, but I can say now the tyres are a little bit warm, you know, if I drop it down into first, we get good grip. Yeah, I can tell you that, we definitely get good grip. So the Corsas do work in the dry, although you're probably best off getting some Michelin PS4s as an all-round tyre. But still, I love driving this car. The steering feel is still as precise as the old car. Nothing's changed there. It's still, in my opinion, one of the best in terms of kind of steering. It's so precise, it's just a dream to drive. You get these active blind spot monitors on this as well, so in the previous car where you get the audible noise, now you get a more direct feel through the steering wheel to say don't go in that lane, Steph. But also the level 2 autonomous drive comes with 2 modes. You get a highway mode and a traffic mode. You set it into position, you hold the wheel every 15 seconds or so, you've got to touch the wheel to let the car know you haven't fallen asleep. But after that, it pretty much drives itself, and it does a really good job with the active cruise control. It slows down as well. It is actually pretty good. As we asbo through this little town, the echo of that exhaust sounds brilliant. The other thing that you can opt for in terms of an optional extra is an exposed carbon roof, which normally you get as standard on the Giulia Quadrifoglio N-Ring. Well, they've made it an option on the Model Year 20 car. Also, you have the Sparco bucket seats. Now, in this specific car, I don't have the upgraded Sparco seats. I've got the normal ones, but having the normal ones allows me to benefit from heated seats in the winter and also fully adjustable as well if I want. Acceleration on this car is still as blitzeringly quick as you remember from the old car. 0 to 62 is delivered in just 3.9, and a top speed of 190 miles an hour if you're brave enough. from the interior, you get a new redesigned center console. Alfa have listened to feedback of the gear stick being a little bit peasant, I guess, and they've added a nice leather trim, which looks great. The center console is full carbon fiber. You've got the Italian flag now added to the 8-speed ZF box. You've got a different area to reposition your key. You've also got wireless charging on this, and Alfa, listen to this as well. Alfa turned around and said, in the old car, the cup holders weren't designed well enough, so they've redesigned the cup holders, because you're really going to need that when you're unleashing this car. But hey, it is what it is. It is blisteringly quick. It is so fast, this car, and it is a joy to drive. I've always been a fan of the Giulia, and I think I'll always be a fan of the Giulia. Whilst there's an argument to say, really, what exactly is different? Not much, but it's still a facelift model, and I think what it does do is it brings this car back in line with some of its more expensive competitors. Bit of wheel spin there. Not much, but still, again, the difference between this and the Stelvio is it is rear wheel drive as well, so it does add that bit more enhancement, and it does make it more, I guess, keeps you on your toes a little bit more, which is what you want from a rear wheel drive car. You don't want it to be boring. Handling wise, it's so precise handling. You can really kind of point it, turn it, whichever way you want, and it just goes. Now, I've driven a lot of Giulia Quadrifoglios. I've been very fortunate that I've done a lot of work with Alfa. I've driven all of them from standard Veloce TI, Quadrifoglio model year 19, and now model year 20, and hopefully one day GTA and GTA-M. But I can say, in terms of a performance car, as we now get into national speed, so we can really open her up, in terms of a performance car, there isn't much out there. Well, there is actually, but in terms of for the price, especially when you start to explore the second-hand market at the price these are going for now, there isn't much that delivers on what this car does. It truly is breathtaking performance. I almost feel that this car is almost too much for some people on the road, because you really do need to have your wits about you, and I love that about this thing. The infotainment itself is where the big upgrade is. You know, you get a widget style system, which is great. It does bring it in line a little bit more with what others are offering. It's still not as good as something like Operating System 7 at BMW, and also some of the stuff that Audi are doing, but it isn't so far behind, such as that of the old car, which really was kind of from the ages. So I'm glad that they've addressed that. Final thoughts on this car? Well, look, just get out and drive one if you haven't done. They're tremendous cars. The problem is, if you do get out into a Giulia Quadrifoglio, you will probably say, right, I need to do everything I can to get myself into one, because the smile it leaves you on your face, the performance it has, is just, it's mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. And it really is a car that put Alfa Romeo back on the map. But for the short period of time that I have had the Giulia Quadrifoglio model year 20 car, I can tell you, it's been a blast. It's everything that you'd expect from Giulia, and probably a little bit more.